Most survival gear channels are selling a fantasy, convincing people that surviving a collapse starts with $3,000 tactical rifles, endless crates of ammunition, and gear so expensive it feels more like a flex than actual preparedness. But when the world goes dark, a loud, high-maintenance firearm can turn into the worst tool you own, broadcasting your location for miles, burning through limited ammunition fast, and becoming dead weight the second supplies disappear. Today, we are exposing the dangerous flaw in relying entirely on firearms and breaking down 7 brutal survival weapons built for the kind of situations most people are not prepared to face. Low-maintenance, sustainable, devastatingly effective tools designed to keep working long after modern systems fail. Forget the overpriced hype, put down the gun catalogs, and let's look at the silent, reliable gear that could actually keep you alive when everything around you starts falling apart. Most people spend $2,000 on a rifle, another $400 on optics, and then panic the second they can't find ammo on the shelf. I'm about to show you a weapon that makes that entire equation obsolete. And it doesn't care what your local gun store has in stock. The AEA Zeus, chambered in .72 caliber, is the most misunderstood survival weapon on the market today. People hear pre-charged pneumatic and picture a backyard plinker. What they don't picture is a side-lever bolt-action big-bore platform launching a 500-grain slug at 935 feet per second out of a 24-inch barrel, generating 970 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. Step up to the 32-inch barrel with an 850-grain slug, and that number climbs to 1,500 foot-pounds. Let's talk real numbers because the specs on this monster are genuinely terrifying. The Zeus runs on a maximum fill pressure of 3,600 pounds per square inch stored in a 400 cubic centimeter air reservoir. The 24-inch barrel configuration gives you an overall length of 42 inches and a field weight of 10.3 pounds. Substantial enough to absorb the energy, light enough to carry all day. The bore diameter is .72 caliber, nearly 3/4 of an inch, and every shot reminds you of that fact. Cocking is handled through a smooth side lever action, and the Picatinny top rail puts your optics exactly where you need them. Here is the number most reviewers quietly skip. You get approximately 3 effective shots per fill at full operating pressure. After that, velocity drops and your accuracy window narrows fast. In a survival scenario, that demands discipline. You need to know it before you trust it with your life. Now the brand. EA, Air Force, Engineering and Arms is a Chinese manufacturer that entered the American big-bore airgun market and immediately drew skepticism. People didn't trust the name. Some still don't. But Zeus changed that conversation because results don't lie. American preppers, big-bore hunters, and serious survivalists ran it through real-world testing and kept coming back with the same verdict. It hits hard, it runs clean, and it delivers exactly what it promises. Price starts around $1,000, depending on the variant and retailer. Compare that to a quality bolt-action rifle plus optics, plus ongoing ammunition costs, and the math shifts fast, especially when the supply chain breaks. Here is what nobody tells you. Conventional ammunition requires factories, logistics, and a functioning economy. Compressed air requires a hand pump that costs $40 or a scuba tank fill that costs $10. When the grid goes dark and the shelves empty out, your expensive centerfire rifle becomes a very heavy club. Zeus keeps shooting, quietly, legally, without a background check, without registration in most states, and without a single dependency on a supply chain that may no longer exist. Coming in at number 2 is the Savage Model 42. 2 guns, 1 trigger pull away from each other, right around $500 out the door. I'm going to tell you why this little break action might be the smartest survival decision you ever make, and why the people who dismiss it have never actually had to feed themselves off the land. The Savage Model 42 is a break action over-under combination gun. The top barrel fires .22 long rifle. The bottom barrel fires a 3-inch .410 bore shotgun shell. Two completely different weapons stacked on top of each other, wrapped in a package that weighs 6.1 pounds and measures 35.75 inches from end to end. That is lighter than most hunting rifles and shorter than most shotguns. The barrels run 20 inches each, carbon steel with a matte blued finish that kills glare in the field. The synthetic stock is fully weatherproof with a rubber recoil pad and sling swivels already installed. Length of pull sits at 13.5 inches. The cylinder bore choke on the .410 barrel is fixed, and the .22 barrel runs a 1 in 16-inch right-hand twist with 6 grooves. That is accurate enough to consistently hit a small target at field distances with iron sights, and the adjustable rear sight can even be removed to mount a dedicated optics rail. Now the brand. Savage Arms was founded in 1894, one of the oldest and most respected firearms manufacturers in America. The predecessor to the Model 42 was the legendary Model 24, an over-under combo gun that ran from the early 1950s all the way to the late 1980s. Hunters loved it. Survivalists swore by it. Savage originally discontinued it, but decades later, overwhelming market demand forced them to bring it back as the modern Model 42. That comeback tells you everything you need to know about how respected this platform actually is. Here is the honest truth nobody leads with. This gun is single shot on both barrels. You get one rimfire round and one shotgun shell before you crack it open again. In a defensive situation, that limitation is real and you need to own it completely. The synthetic stock finish is rough, the build feels plasticky to some, and the .410 is technically the weakest shotgun bore made. Critics are not wrong about any of that. But here is what those critics are missing. When the world goes dark, you are not fighting a military war. You are feeding your family. The .22 barrel handles small game cleanly and quietly. The .410 with a 3-inch triple-aught buckshot load is a legitimate defensive and deer-capable round at close range. You just covered survival hunting and protection with one independent gun that costs around $500 in the real world. Coming in at number 3 is the Steambow AR6 Stinger 2 Tactical. This is a magazine-fed repeating crossbow built by Steambow out of Austria. And before you write it off as a gimmick, understand what you are actually holding. This is a weapons-grade polymer frame crossbow with a commercial spec AR-15 adjustable stock, a full-length Picatinny top rail, a bottom rail for lights and grips, and an integrated fiber optic front sight for lightning-fast target acquisition. It weighs a mere 2.6 pounds and adjusts from 21.9 to 24.9 inches depending on your stock position. It fits flat inside a standard backpack, going absolutely everywhere a traditional firearm cannot. With the standard 55-pound limbs, it fires a 142-grain aluminum bolt at around 160 to 180 feet per second. Step up to the optional 90-pound Pro limbs, and you are pushing those bolts up to 200 feet per second, slamming your target with up to 15.5 foot-pounds of bone-shattering kinetic energy. The integrated 6-arrow polymer magazine empties in under 5 seconds, giving you the fastest rate of fire of any repeating crossbow sold on the market today. Accurate field range sits comfortably at 75 to 100 feet, and the modular system allows you to swap limbs in seconds as they release heavier 120 and 150-pound options. Now, the hidden truth nobody leads with. While it features internal dry-fire protection, it lacks a traditional manual thumb safety switch. That demands absolute weapon discipline and experience handling in the field. Beyond that, field testing confirms it does not legally qualify as a traditional hunting crossbow in most states due to its short 6-inch bolt format. Here is where mainstream critics call it overrated. For traditional deep woods deer hunting, it falls short of a full-sized compound crossbow. People expect sniper-level archery performance and get a close-range tactical defensive tool instead. But here is the flip. When the world goes dark, you are not filling out hunting licenses or chasing ammunition, and that is exactly why the Stinger 2 makes sense. reusable arrows, dirt-cheap backup strings that swap without a bow press, fully mechanical operation with zero powder or compressed air dependency, and high-end Austrian engineering packed into a silent, repeating platform that stays lethal as long as your arms can still pull the frame, all for around $300. What if the most terrifying home defense weapon you could own does not fire a single bullet, handles like a sawed-off shotgun, and requires zero background checks or registration? That is not a hypothetical. While amateur preppers are blowing thousands of dollars trying to buy restricted firearms, field experts are quietly hoarding the Umarex T4E HDS .68 caliber launcher, a dual-barrel kinetic monster that stops home intruders dead in their tracks using pure, non-lethal blunt force trauma. This break-action, side-by-side CO2-powered platform features 17.33 millimeters of bore diameter, sitting inside a 7.7-inch barrel. Overall, it runs 19.3 inches long with a field weight of 3.75 pounds. The frame is impact-resistant polymer with metal internal components, including the trigger and hammer. The textured grip and forearm keep it locked in your hand even when your palms are sweating. And in a real situation, they will be. A single 12-gram. CO2 cartridge drops into the pistol grip and pierces with one firm tap on the base. No tools, no delay, ready in seconds. A built-in pressure indicator tells you exactly when the system is pressurized. The barrel selector switch on top lets you fire the left barrel, the right barrel, or both barrels simultaneously with one trigger pull. Capacity is 2 rounds, 1 per barrel. Velocity pushes a solid 200 feet per second. This is where the platform becomes something genuinely different. It launches .68 caliber rubber balls, pepper balls, chalk balls, and heavy rubber-coated steel projectiles that deliver serious blunt impact energy on contact. Each projectile type serves a different purpose, allowing you to choose your threat response based on the situation in front of you. The Picatinny rail under the barrel accepts standard lights and lasers. The trigger runs a double-action design with a built-in security lever that prevents accidental discharge if dropped. Umarex, a German manufacturer founded in 1972, built this to training standards used by law enforcement agencies for force-on-force scenarios globally. But let's stop pretending this thing is a magic wand. Here is the ugly truth that the armchair survivalists love to ignore. You have exactly 2 rounds before you are holding an empty plastic stick. If you are facing a coordinated sustained attack, that capacity limitation is a terrifying reality. At a maximum velocity of 200 feet per second, you are not stopping a determined threat at a distance, period. Mainstream critics absolutely bash this thing, calling it a glorified paintball gun with a tactical identity crisis. And if you load it with cheap plastic balls, those critics are 100% right. Coming in at number 6 is the Kel-Tec Sub-2000. This is a blowback-operated semi-automatic pistol-caliber carbine chambered in 9mm, designed by George Kellgren and manufactured by Kel-Tec CNC Industries in Cocoa, Florida. It has been in continuous production since 2001. That is over 2 decades of refinement on a platform built around one of the most brilliant survival concepts in modern firearms history. When you fold this rifle, it collapses to exactly 16 inches long and 7 inches tall, fitting effortlessly inside a standard backpack. Unfolded and ready to shoot, it opens to 29.5 inches overall with a 16.1-inch barrel featuring a 1 in 16-inch right-hand twist. Here are the verified numbers. Weight unloaded is a mere 4 pounds flat, roughly half the weight of a standard AR-15. The frame is made of glass-reinforced Zytel polymer, making it completely impact-resistant and corrosion-resistant in the field. Magazine capacity is 17+1 using standard Glock 17 magazines. The 9mm round leaves this 16-inch barrel at up to 1,400 feet per second, a massive velocity increase over a handgun. The NRA confirmed that even a heavy 147-grain subsonic load averaged 1,171 feet per second out of this platform. That extra barrel length is doing real bone-crushing work out to an effective range of 150 yards. The magazine compatibility is the feature that serious survivalists keep coming back to. If you carry a Glock 17 as your sidearm, every single magazine and round you own feeds both weapons. One caliber, one supply chain, maximum flexibility when resupply becomes a guessing game. Now the honest part, the trigger on the Sub-2000 is not refined. It is heavy, plastic, and functional at best. The blowback action produces a surprisingly snappy felt recoil for a 9mm. Critics who dismiss Kel-Tec as a cheap polymer brand are not entirely wrong about the fit and finish. They build to a budget, and the rough edges show up close. Furthermore, early generations forced you to remove your optics just to fold the gun. Last but not least, the Maverick 88 by Mossberg. Since 1988, this shotgun has been sitting in garages, riding in truck beds, leaning against ranch house doors, and living at the bottom of bug-out bags across every corner of America. Farmers trust it, veterans keep it, first-time gun owners buy it and never look back. It has never asked for a $1,000 price tag. It has never needed premium furniture, fancy branding, or a celebrity endorsement to prove what it is. It just works. Every single pump, every single shell, every single time. And right now, I am going to tell you exactly why the Maverick 88 is the last survival shotgun you will ever need to buy. The Maverick 88 is a pump-action shotgun manufactured by O.F. Mossberg & Sons, the oldest family-owned firearms manufacturer in America, founded in 1919. The Maverick line is assembled in Eagle Pass, Texas, running on the same proven operating system that made the Mossberg 500 one of the most trusted platforms in the world. Twin action bars prevent foreign twist for a smoother, more reliable pump stroke, while dual extractors eject spent shells cleanly every cycle. An anti-jam elevator keeps feeding smooth even under stress. The standard model runs an 18.5-inch smoothbore cylinder bore barrel finished in deep blued steel. Weight sits at 6 pounds flat. Capacity is 5+1 with standard 2.75-inch shells. Step up to the 20-inch variant and that climbs to 7+1. The chamber handles both 2.75-inch and 3-inch 12-gauge shells, giving you full flexibility across buckshot, birdshot, and slugs without any modification. The crossbolt safety sits at the front of the trigger guard. The stock is black synthetic, weatherproof, impact-resistant, and zero maintenance. Here's the detail that serious survivalists keep coming back to. The Maverick 88 is fully compatible with Mossberg 500 barrels within gauge and capacity. Almost every barrel, stock, and internal part from that massive ecosystem drops right in. Now the honest part, the Maverick 88 uses a crossbolt safety instead of the ambidextrous tang safety that made the premium Mossberg 500 famous, and that is a genuine downgrade for left-handed shooters. Some components are sourced from Mexico, which is exactly how they keep the real-world price tag sitting right around $250. The plastic rear sling stud is molded directly into the stock, functional but unrefined. Critics who call it a stripped-down clone are technically correct. But when the world goes dark, skipping a $1,000 tactical gun for this unyielding $250 American workhorse is the smartest survival move you will ever make. At the end of the day, survival has never belonged to the people with the loudest gear or the biggest collection of expensive weapons. It belongs to the people who understand one simple reality. When systems fail, simplicity, reliability, and sustainability become more valuable than hype. If this video changed the way you think about survival preparedness, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling us which survival weapon you would trust most when everything goes dark. And trust me, the next video might expose even more must-have survival gear the industry has been massively overhyping for years.